The following is a present.
Hi, welcome to Live Lunch Break on this pollen and ragweed choked autumnal day in late May. My name is Rick Coster. We are streaming from theday.com. Today we are privileged to have with us Bergin O'Malley. Hi, Bergin.
Hi, Rick. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're glad you're here, and I always like it. If you guys are out there watching, you can see that Bergin has some comp paper and a pen up on the top of her keyboard. That's because, like Mozart, she does like stuff for hire. And we hired her just a few minutes ago to write a short nocturne, which she will be performing later in the set. But world-traveled, multifaceted, compositionally and vocally gifted. This is Bergin O'Malley.
I'm naked in the water, floating around, and my feet feel like they'll never touch the ground. And we just smoked a joint, and we're all alright. I'm lying in a hammock in a place I love in Mexico, with all the stars above, and everything's perfect tonight. But then I blink, and I wake up, driving a minivan. Class and run away and grab our friends and go to the park. And it's so nice just being here with all our friends all so near, and we can just hang around until way after dark. But then I blink and I wake up driving this minivan. And I drove that minivan here today. So I'm Bergin O'Malley. I'm very excited to be here at the Telegraph. Thank you, New London Day, and Rick and everyone involved. Thank you to Martha Reichert, my old high school friend, who's here as well. And I'm going to sing some songs for you. I think we're going to have a little chat. And I do have allergies, as Rick was saying. The pollen is a little crazy, so you will have to excuse. So this next song, I'll put in the electric piano vibe so it sounds friendlier. My friend was going through a divorce, and remember saying to her, like, geez, you know, you only got married a couple years ago, and kind of how do you go from lifelong love to all of a sudden being in the lawyer's office? And she started listing things. Well, you know, he wasn't really helping around the house, and, you know, we weren't really listening to each other and supporting each other. And kind of bit by bit, you can see how things can just easily crumble, and how, in some ways, like, sad it is that we waste all of our most romantic and good intentions on courting, and where the lifelong partnerships sometimes can go by the wayside. And my mom hates this song. She's like, I don't know why you have to talk about this. I think it's just, you know, it's nobody's business, and relationships are hard, and I don't know why you have to put it all out there. But I am putting it all out there, Mom, and if you're listening. And this isn't a sad song. It's a wake-up call for us to, like, we can choose to be kind and loving to our partners and not let things slip away. So this one is called Dishes. When I first met you, you used to do the dishes. When I first met you, you couldn't stop kissing me. When I first met you, you listened to my wishes. You made me feel like there was no one else but me. It's funny that the longer you love someone, the less you do. Funny because you think the opposite would be true. Funny that it's not funny at all that I do find myself here. When I first met you, we used to talk for hours, and staying up all night, we had so much to share. When I first met you, you used to buy me flowers, but now my empty vase just sits there. It's funny that the longer you love someone, the less you do. Funny because you think the opposite would be true. Funny that it's not funny at all that I do find myself here. When I first met you, we used to cook together. And you would chop, I would stir with such glee. But now it seems that we have hit our stormy weather. I look around, there's no one to be found, it's just little me. It's funny that the longer you love someone, the less you do. Funny because you think the opposite would be true. Funny that it's not funny at all that I do find myself here. It's funny the longer you love someone, the less you do. Funny because you think the opposite would be true. Funny that it's not funny at all that I do find myself here. My dishes. Thank you. Sorry, Mom. We'll go back to piano. So I was in Austin last fall when Lou Reed died, and I was so sad because he was such a wonderful contributor to this world, and also a big part in my kind of late teens and 20s. And then I was reminded that actually there was this pause where I didn't listen to Lou Reed or the Velvet Underground because it reminded me of an ex-boyfriend. And I was kind of thinking about the hangover that a boyfriend can kind of persist once you've ended, and, you know, think about like the places you don't want to go to because it's just too much to bear, and people you don't want to see anymore, and the music you can't listen to. And I think heartache is hard at any age, but when you're young, it's just so raw, and you've never been through it again, and you don't know that you can love and lose again. And I've been watching it with my babysitters, kind of going through their trials and tribulations of teenage love, and I just want to hug them and say, it's okay, like, you will forget this guy. But, you know, having 37-year-old mom tell you that isn't the answer. You just have to kind of go through it. And yeah, and then however many years later, you'll think about the guy and realize you haven't thought about him in about 20 years. So this is called Lou Reed. key. Read Agua. So last summer, I was so lucky to go on this amazing songwriter retreat organized by Katie Curtis, Boston-based singer, and Jenna Limbo, in this wonderful 100-acre property on this cove in Maine with 16 other songwriters, housed by this wonderful artist and kind soul, Scott Stoll. And we just had a week of being nurtured and fed and swimming naked in the cove and having nothing to think about apart from just writing. And it was so magical because I had not slept, like had a full night's rest in 2 years, and to be in a place where I was just in this cocoon of nourishment and inspiration was really great. And I was so prolific. I wrote, I think, four or five songs in the 5 days there, and I was just kind of so inspired by the place. And I remember, I was just kind of waiting for a meeting with Katie and just looking at the sky, and I was like, the sky is blue and the sun is shining and the tall trees and this beautiful wood. And then I just started crying, and just in this, I just felt so good. And to cry like tears of joy and just feel so alive was pretty awesome. And then, but also realizing none of my friends and family were there to kind of see this part of me, but also realizing if they had been there, I wouldn't have been able to be so alive. And how, well, we all have our thing that like we love, but it kind of has to remain ours for it to kind of be that way. But you want to kind of give a window into your life to your people. So I was trying to kind of do that in full circle with this one. But also, luckily, it was nice to return to a life where I'm happy and do. So this one's called Good. The sky is blue and the sun is shining through these big tall trees and this beautiful wood. My hair is wet 'cause I've just been swimming, and my belly's full and I feel good. 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 The songs in my head and my hands won't stop playing. Words on my page and I feel understood. You circle the song, it feels kind of like praying. And I'm sitting here and I feel good. 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 Wish you could be here to see me, to hear the songs and the acorns fall, the sturgeon in the cove, the muffins on the stove. But with you here, I might not see it all. The songs are still coming, but soon I'll be leaving back to our village and our neighborhood, to the boys and the noise and all of the giggling in our home. It will be good. 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 La 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 la. Good. La 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 la. Good. I do feel good. I feel good right now, so it's good. And so I was talking to a friend, and he was in just this like horrible relationship, and everybody knew it, and then he knew it. So I was like, all right, well, what are we gonna do about this? Maybe we should end the horrible relationship. I was like, just do it tonight. Do it tonight. He's like, well, we're ordering Chinese food tonight, and it's kind of our movie night thing, and just this like idea that like lifelong unhappiness because I don't want to disrupt Chinese food night. But we did. It's like nobody wants to break up. Sorry, like magical Gwyneth Chris Martin uncoupling is like not really what happens to most of us. And nobody wants to be the bad guy, and nobody wants to get screamed at. And it's just, and it is hard because there's always an element of good in every relationship. But it's just got to be done, guys. So if you're in a bad relationship, skip the Chinese food. Come over to my house. Mama cook you some good food, and the relationship. So this one is called "I Don't Want to Break Your Heart." I don't want to break your heart tonight. I just want to get Chinese and pretend we're alright. I don't want you to scream and tell me I'm mean. No, I don't want that tonight. I don't want to break your heart tonight. I just want to take it easy and just kick back and watch TV. I don't want you to cry. I don't want you to ask me why. No, I don't want that tonight. I don't want to break your heart tonight. So let's just sit on the couch and try not to fight. I don't want you to scream and tell me I'm mean. I don't want you to say it'll all be okay. Or kick my face or leave in disgrace. I don't want you to hate me or berate me. No, I don't want that tonight. Just wanna curl up and be a girl tonight. Just wanna make love, put down the fighting love tonight. 'Cause we have had good times, and if I could, I would rewind. Oh, but I can't tonight. I don't wanna break your heart tonight. I'll rip you apart. I'll give you a fright. I don't want lessons learned or watch you get burned. Trying to act tough, I know this is rough. We wake up tomorrow full of sorrow, and you try to explain we can start over again. No, I don't want that tonight. There's never a good time, and I know I'm not unkind, so I'll just do it tonight. Actually, when I was recording the song over at Conn College, they have a wonderful recording studio, and Andrew, who's there, has been just so great helping me put my album together. And so I'd finish the thing, and then I realized I was like, no, she should do it. She should do it right now because I don't want the message to be that you should continue it. So I added that there's never a good time to do it tonight. So that's on the final cut. So anyway, so I think the last song before we take a little commercial break. I started this the week of the Boston Marathon bombing last year, which was, that event in itself is so tragic, but it was also within my personal circle just a bad week. A friend had a miscarriage, and another friend's father was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and then there was this breakup, and then but also another friend had this really amazing kind of professional and personal change in his life for the good, and just realizing how all of those things, there were just like moments, like one moment you're fine and then something goes off, and 1 minute you get a call from the doctor, and I think, we all know that we should be in the moment and cherish the moments, but I don't think we actually, like capital K, really take that on board all the time. But it's like so important to just kind of be where you are. And the great thing too about life changing moment to moment is that when you're in a bad place, there's always the kind of hope and faith that things will turn around. So this is called In a Moment.
He was there to cheer his dad across the finishing line, standing with his mom, bursting with pride. But on that Boston day, those men took that away. Life, love, innocence, forever changed. 'Cause in a moment things can change. 'Cause in a moment things can change. 'Cause in a moment things can change. The phone is ringing, it's the doctor on the line. He says, I am so very sorry, but you don't have much time. So love the ones you love and let them know. And all of the rest, just let it all go. 'Cause in a moment things can change. 'Cause in a moment things can change. 'Cause in a moment things can change. She'd always thought he was the one, and they made their vows. They'd always had such fun, but they made it here somehow. And fighting, and screaming, and calling these names. She points to the door. She knows her life won't be the same. 'Cause in a moment things can change. 'Cause in a moment things can change. 'Cause in a moment things can change. So be with me and look at all there is to see. Don't know why things change, but they do. And I know we have this moment right now. We have this moment right now. She had a life inside of her, and then it stopped. She was aching to be a mother, but she can't turn back the clock. And her husband doesn't know what he should do. He says, babe, I love you so, and I know I'll make it through. 'Cause in a moment things can change. 'Cause in a moment things can change. 'Cause in a moment things can change. Be with me right now. Be with me right now. Be with me in this moment right now. Thank you for this moment right now. Be with me right now in this moment.
Thank you. And in this moment, we're going to take a short commercial break.
Thanks for joining us on Live Lunch Break. It is, of course, Thursday. This is streaming from theday.com. My name is Rick Coster, and our guest today is Bergin O'Malley. Hi, Bergin.
Hi, Rick.
As always, we are in the Telegraph Record Store in New London. Our hosts, Rich and Daphne Martin. Alex is over there. It's not too late to come down and see the second set that Bergin's going to play. And then you can help as Bergin and I fight over the 40th anniversary edition of Emerson, Lake and Palmer's Brain Salad Surgery, which is on sale right over there. And how much do you bid for that, Bergin?
I think bidding's starting at 45.
Wow, she's already sold. That's how we do it around here.
That's how we get it done.
It is so neat. Musicians are like anybody else. There's a variety of
Yep.
types of them.
We're just normal people.
You're just like real people. But you take the time to talk a little bit between each song about the muse and how the song, and that always fascinates me. And that was part of the whole idea of the Live Lunch Break series and another series that Peter and I do called Song Spinner, where we'll have one artist just kind of dissect that. And some people are very disciplined, like I have to be in a certain place and I work at it. But you recorded one album, I believe, in Bristol, Brixton, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
And you dedicated it to Stonington.
Yes.
You recorded one album in Mexico. You recorded one album while you were like 40 weeks pregnant.
This guy's
So-
done his homework.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is you don't really have any problem capturing the muse, right?
No. And actually, the 40 weeks pregnant, that one was covers. It was called Waiting for Emmett because he was due at 40 weeks. And I was just kind of hanging around. So I was like, well, I might as well just record an album because I've got nothing else to do and I can't really waddle out of my apartment. So I write sitting at the piano, but most of my writing is actually walking around and having that free space. And I think that's what I was talking about, the songwriter retreat that I went to last summer. And that's what was so amazing, having the time and space. Because as you know, I've got these two wonderful little boys that I would drive anywhere in my car for. And then Elliot, and they are great, but it turns out having two little very active boys, age 2 and 4, is actually quite time consuming. And anytime I'm walking with them, I'm always like, don't cross the street, grab the, don't hit your brother, give me the snack, give me the diaper bag. And it's just, my head is kind of taken up with that space. So I cherish, just kind of walking, driving by myself, anytime where I can just have that empty space. And then, and actually I write differently than I do when I'm at the piano. I think when a song I'm going to do that I just started a couple weeks ago, I wrote just as I was wandering, and it's kind of a darker chords than I usually do. I feel like I default to start in A lot when I'm at the piano. So, and I also play the guitar, and those songs they're like a lot happier and more kind of rhythmy, and but the piano is my first love, so I feel very plugged in when I'm on this.
Key of A, is that simply because that fits your register, or?
I don't even know. And I a lot of my kids, I think a lot of the kid songs I write are in that.
It's a happy major chord.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
I think, and maybe because I write, like one of my friends, Katie, bless her, is always, she sent an email actually a couple weeks ago, just saying, like, I sent her some new songs. She was like, all of your songs make me cry. Could you please write some happy songs? And I think actually I write in kind of happy keys, and I'm generally a pretty happy person, but I think, some of the, I don't know, I feel like it's easier to approach like a tough subject if it's in the
I want to connect that to a question, and if you will indulge me, a brief reference to my own failed musical career when I was at home one night and drinking pretty heavily, and I wrote what I thought was a great song, and I woke up the next morning and realized I'd written a Hall & Oates song. So you, working at the Cottrell Brewery,
Yes.
Have you ever imbibed and then gone home and dashed out a great tune?
And I do imbibe, and I love to imbibe. Cottrell
Look at this.
beer.
This is advanced. Tell everybody.
Yeah. Well, actually, this is exciting. This is our new beer coming out, Stonington Glory Pilsner, inspired by the Battle of Stonington Bicentennial. It's happening this summer. With great artwork done by local Josiah Jones. I do love to imbibe. I love a good IPA. I prefer singing at night too, which I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm kind of bummed this is at noon because the voice isn't quite warmed up enough, and I thought it would be a little inappropriate to come in with beers. I brought in empty beers. Nope. Okay.
Not here,
Well,
yeah,
You
that's-
know, I didn't know. Ah.
Here at the Telegraph liquor store or record store. Well, that makes us wonder what's in that water bottle. It's the same color as gin. Not really.
No, I'm a beer and wine girl. I don't really think about whether a song is actually going to be good, I guess, when I write a song.
Yeah.
And I write most of my songs just kind of they come out. And there are a couple songs I've struggled with. Actually, that In a Moment one, I did struggle with that one because I didn't want it to just be a kind of everything goes wrong song, and I did want to get the kind of element of change. That took me a really long time because I wanted to get that right. But most of my songs do just kind of come out, and they are helped by one or two beers, but I don't. Mama doesn't.
Have you been in a studio situation where the producer, or in the songwriting retreat you went on, where sometimes if you're working with a producer, what they said is that said, no, we want you to change this chord or whatever, and depending on your situation, you might have to go, well, I don't really like that idea, but they're telling me. So, have you worked in that context?
I've been really lucky, and actually, what was so great, both with Andrew at Con College and at the songwriter retreat, is that I always ask kind of specific questions. So I'll ask feedback on
Sure.
does lyrics work or the chord. But if I know, like, if I'm set with my music, then very nice if you want me to throw in a different chord, but I'm not going to do that. And but if I'm not happy with my lyrics and and again, like this In a Moment song was really when I crowdsourced by the people at the retreat, when they were the one, because I was struggling with how to turn this around, and it was actually them who kind of going back when I played my fragmented verses and chorus. They were the ones who actually said, well,
That's
I
neat.
think what you're saying is it's about the moment and the change versus
Right.
everything's just going to go wrong. Because I really didn't want to end it. So that was so fun to be in that group. And actually, we've got I'm going back on the retreat this year.
Oh,
Can't
cool.
Wait, yeah, it's so great. And it's just wild. It was only 5 or 6 days, but everyone was so giving and generous of themselves, and we really all kind of came away with this very strong connection. And we've got a virtual song circle that's going on
That's
still,
cool.
and people, we're all through Facebook and Google Docs. We'll send little bits. I've sent little clips to people, and that's been really fun to have
That's
that as a
pretty
resource.
therapeutic,
Yeah,
is it?
yeah. 'Cause
What
it's
would you do
different
if-
when
I'm sorry.
I was just saying, when you share it with a friend,
Yeah.
and you're like, hey, what do you think? It's like, oh, that's really good. I'm like, okay, and it's
Right.
or I don't know, I didn't really like that one. And it's like, okay, but what do you think about the transition and do you think it needs a bridge? And so it's nice to kind of be in a group where actually I don't know personally, other than we just met as musicians,
Right.
and that's been.
We're talking with Bergin O'Malley, a wonderful songwriter, and of course this is live lunch break. What would you do if, in the period of 1 year from the songwriter camp, one of the participants had an aesthetic change of heart, and when he or she showed up this year, they had 6 stacks of Marshalls and a shark-shaped electric guitar, and it was all death metal or whatever.
Yeah, well, there was death metal. What was so cool?
I'm just kidding, but-
no, but what was so cool actually about the retreat, and I think why everyone enjoyed it so well and was so generous, is that we were all so different, and it just reminded me
Right.
too, how important it is to be in a diverse kind of community. And we had age range from I think. She's 24 to kind of 60s.
Oh,
We
right.
had punk. We had folk. I thought it would, because it was Katie Curtis who organized it. I
Sure.
thought it was going to be a bunch of
Acoustic
20-something.
folk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and actually
exactly.
there was huge range.
Oh, that's great.
We had, Anna actually does orchestrations for 20 instruments at a time. We had, these awesome professors, punk rock band. I mean, it really was the whole gamut. So actually there was amazing, jazz, folk. We had the whole
That's
whole
pretty neat.
gamut. So actually it was that thing where there wasn't, and everyone kept on saying, yeah, but it must have been competitive. And I was like, it just wasn't.
Not at all. That's impressive.
Yeah. it
There
was
wasn't one
so-
person
no,
there
it
that was
so cool.
yeah.
And also I was like, for me to, I remember I just went there. I was like, and I remember on the opening night when we're going around, Katie was, what do you guys want to get out of this? And I said, I just want to sleep, actually. And everyone kind of laughed, but I was like, honestly, I just the idea of being arrested and fed by someone else is just magical. And then on top of it turns out I'm in this beautiful place and with all y'all, and but actually just again being in a space where, and I wasn't there to make
Right.
friends, but then it turned out I was really inspired. And we did a show, our final night, the garage band, like just for ourselves. Katie did a show the penultimate night, and we all went to that, and a couple of us got up and sang too. But we did a performance, and most people did songs they'd written that week, and everybody had someone else up there with them. Like it wasn't planned that way, but it just. And actually, I did the In the Moment songs, and I had 3 backups, and it was just all organically happened, and it was great. And I really do miss. I do miss having a musical community here, so I do need to step it up a little. Maybe someone out there would like.
Let me ask you one last question before. Well, actually, 2. Where can people get your records? Where merch, whatever?
So I've got a very bad website, berginomaly.com, but I've got a very cool one that hasn't been launched yet. So stick around. Facebook too. So Facebook, and then it's just Bergin O'Malley. Bergin is BerginOmalley is my last name. So for the moment.
That's cool.
Yes, and I was saying, recording this new album at Con College that will be out in the next couple of months.
Fabulous. One last question, and we'll get back to another set from Bergin O'Malley. In the first set, you played a song that had been inspired by a series of sort of tragic or depressing things that had happened in your life, and we discussed off the air before we came on that there have been incidents like 9/11 that had a profound effect on you in terms of not just life, but you wrote about it. Is that, in fact, as therapeutic as one would think? Does it do you a lot of good, or is it rough to sort of have to marinate in that?
No, and actually it's for me, actually, when I the song, it is definitely therapeutic, and it's almost like when I finish the song, it's almost like, oh wow, I've processed that. Like,
right.
Now I have, and there's something neat about having this kind of capsule of like these moments throughout my life, and then actually with the 9/11 and some of these other songs, which I don't really think about other people when I'm writing. Like, no, I think about other people. I really do. But what I've found, what's been cool, is that other people have latched on to some of the songs, and then it becomes therapeutic for them as well. And then, which has been a kind of neat thing, because I think, when you're just kind of writing by yourself and you're on your walks or on your piano, you're not really thinking about how that could help someone else. But that's always been a neat side effect. But for me, I always say to people, it's like things get kind of scraggly, and then when I write a song, it just kind of all
That's good.
comes together.
That's good. Would you play us a few more?
I will.
This is Bergin O'Malley on Live Lunch Break.
Thank you so much. And thanks again to the Telegraph and the Day and Rich and Rick and Peter and Carlos and Martha Reichert, from an old friend from the Taft School. So I feel like I'm looking at the set here, and I feel like the first one was about the kind of the breakups and the dishes not done, and I thought maybe we'd start the second half with a love song. So David, my now husband, then boyfriend, and I had moved to London in 2007. And it was 4th of July, and it was not a good 4th of July. It's pouring rain, and it's in the 50s, and I'm in this little flat in Brixton with like cops running around, and I'm unemployed, and just kind of like, what am I doing here when I could be either in Brooklyn, where we used to live, or in Stonington, hanging out by the beach, and kind of missing my friends and family, but then also realizing that, I've kind of like hitched my wagon to this guy, and now like he is my friends and my family now, and it was exciting, because I never had thought of myself as someone who wanted to hitch her wagon to anyone. And just thinking, okay, this 4th of July is rainy, but I am happy, and kind of picturing a lifelong of 4th of Julys with him. So here is 4th of July.
It's raining on the 4th of July. I'm far away from apple pie, or a Brooklyn rooftop with a view. I'm far away from it all, but I'm close to you. I'm so excited to be your wife, and I love you till the day that I die, and we'll celebrate the 4th of July. You are my home, my family. Wherever you roam, you know I'll be. Dear independence, and I've never felt so free to imagine with someone that life would like to lead. Yeah, and I've never felt love like this before. Can't believe I get to love you more and more and more. You are my home, my family. Wherever you roam, you know I'll be. You are my home, my family. Wherever you roam, you know I'll be. You know I'll be.
So we don't actually do quite as much roaming anymore. And then flash forward to a couple of years, so we moved to Stonington. I grew up summers in Stonington, kind of we're a bit nomad-y family in London and Brussels and Mexico, and then I moved to the States when I was 15. But Stonington was the continuity of my life. Might share a song about that later. But I didn't think I would be lucky enough to kind of come back here and raise my family here. And David's birthday, the first birthday after we moved back, I wanted to write him a song because he hates birthdays. He just would rather we just all ignore them. And I love birthdays, and I think they're really important to kind of mark the celebration, and we're alive, and this is good. So, and I was thinking about where we were. I was like, God, like we used to renting. We used to work in politics, and we didn't even like signing rental leases because that just seemed too much commitment. And then here we are in this kind of big old Victorian house and these 2 kids, and it's all just kind of very like, wow. And it was something that, again, like I didn't think, like neither of us really think that we wanted, but we got there, and as crazy and messy and noisy and everything that it is, it's like so groovy. And I actually, I'm really happy about, so I wanted to write a song about that. And so it's particularly good to be singing this song today to remind myself that, because David's been away for a week, and the children have been very noisy, and I haven't slept a lot. So I just need to remember that I wouldn't want it any other way. So this is called the Happy Birthday Song.
Who knew I'd be a country girl and you'd be a country boy? Who knew? Who knew? Who knew the beach could be so fun and it's not scary to find the one? Who knew? Who knew? I wouldn't want it
Thank you. So my grandfather, Ernie O'Malley, was an officer in the War of Independence in Ireland and commander of the anti-treaty side of the Civil War that followed after that. And then he had this pretty remarkable military career, and he one of the few men to ever escape from Kilmainham jail, where he's imprisoned and hunger strike for 43 days. I was just complaining I hadn't found my breakfast sandwich, and my perspective here, Bergin. 40 days, sans food, and he was tortured. Sorry. It was anyway, but he had this post-military life where he was a writer. He traveled to the States. He went to Mexico. He was kind of part of this artistic set with Georgia O'Keeffe and those guys over here, and then Beckett in France. And he wrote two of the kind of main works about the War of Independence, the Singing Flame and On Another Man's Moon. But one of the other things that he did was he went around in the 50s and many years later and interviewed 500 people who had been involved in the war. And it's, this is pre-internet, pre-phones. This is trudging around by himself, an old kind of wounded man, and going around and collecting these stories. But he knew that these stories had to be written down. Otherwise, history doesn't get told in the right way. And he also knew that the men would talk to him, and it was mainly men that he interviewed. The men would talk to him because of who he was. And a lot of these men and women hadn't shared their stories even with the closest friends and family, because no one really wants to talk about the war. And people went on. And I'm so proud of my dad has brought these stories to life. And there's a series of books called The Men Will Talk to Me. And they're broken down by county. And these are, 500 interviews, 20 pages each, just labor of love. And I wrote a song inspired by that called The Men Will Talk to Me. And I just started this a couple weeks ago. I think it needs another verse, but I'm still going to play it.
I have traveled many miles, I have heard many tales, and even with the passage of time, a memory never fails. So I will write down these words, guard them as if they were my own. For the men will talk to me, the men will talk to me, the men will talk to me, the men will talk to me. I have given up the gun, but never the fight. And the weapon I choose now is this pen I used to write. And write down
Thank you. Yeah. So I think one more verse, but I like it. I started writing children's music. So when I was pregnant with Emmett, I was supposed to go to this folk festival with my old college friend Melissa. And I did not have a very good pregnancy and was not feeling very well, and just kind of looked at her. I was like, are we really going to get in the car and drive to Wales? We were living in London at the time, so it wasn't as dramatic as going from Stonington to Wales. But and I'm going to go to this folk festival, and everyone's going to be kind of doing their music festival thing, and I'm going to have my belly out to here and sing about war and ex-boyfriends, and, I don't really want to do that because I've got this baby, this pure thing inside of me, and I wanted to create something happy for him, so we decided to write some children's music, and it just it worked, and it was fun, and we released an album, and people liked it, so we released another one, and then when I moved here this past, I guess I started last fall, I started doing weekly shows I was at LaGrua Center now, over at the Como in Stonington, for kids, kind of under 5 set is my bread and butter. 3 to 5 is like prime, and they're so fun. And I sing my original music, and we do the standards, and the kids, we make instruments, and we also write a song together, and it's really cool. And so I wanted to write a song about body parts for the kids. So, and to kind of replace the head, knees, shoulders, whatever song. And, but in that, I realized actually the favorite part of my Miss Bergin's body is my heart, because I can feel love for my friends and my family and for everybody here in the Telegraph. And so we always do that. It's the kind of penultimate song before the goodbye song. So today, too, this is my penultimate song. It's called I've Got a Heart. And feel free to sing along. I'll do the motions. Yeah. Set. And then I should have done so I've got eyes so I can eat. No, Miss Bergin, you got eyes. And it's so funny because every week I'm like, maybe they won't find it funny this week. And they do every week. And it's just funnier every week. So if you got a good thing, I know, they just like, I've got ears so I can go running. No! I love it. Yeah, and also someone because we write songs together in the class, and someone was like, "You're basically just crowdsourcing your material." I'm like, "Well, yeah, but who better to go to than the people who are really living the dream?" So, as I said, I spent summers in Stonington because my mom wanted continuity. Thank you, Mom, because Dad wanted just like be nomads and travel all summer, and luckily she did that, and Stonington has always been such a special home. Wherever I've lived, this has always been the place where I feel like I can breathe, and it's so groovy to be living here and raising my family here, and that so many of my friends from growing up are here too, and Martha is right across the water, and that's really groovy. And so I wanted to write a song for my kids and the kids in my music class about Stonington, so they could kind of feel psyched about where they're from. And so I wrote this song that I'm about to play. But then I realized it's a little slow for the kids, so I actually have rewritten another kid song that's much more kind of in A. Back to the A. So we do that, and they're into it. But I still do like this song. And I think too, it's obviously about Stonington itself, but when I was thinking about it, it really is just a celebration of like the main street too, and how important stores and like this awesome record store here and like restaurants are, and really having independent places that really make a community. Because I can't imagine writing a kind of love song about where I lived if it was just strip malls and generic places. So we are super lucky in this area that we have so many cool independent. Where's my tea? Bought from an independent coffee shop. Thank you. Independent stores that make our community. So this is my song for Stonington.
Fishing boats go out, the foghorn blows. Walk down the street, you'll see someone you know. Stop by Tom's for candy or the news. So happy to be in Stonington, Stonington. Grab a street at Water Street and watch the room fill with your friends, old and new, all happy to be in Stonington, Stonington, our village by the sea. When you come to our town, well, you gotta slow down. Like the salt in the air, you'll wanna hang around for a friend or a sunset or a view of stars in the sky and the waves in the sea. Either way, you're just happy to be in Stonington. Holy Ghost and the skipper's dog. The church bells ring, the train zoom by. So happy to be. And pancakes from Noah's and dinner from Zach's. Pizza from the palace, the train tracks, the cannons in the square that kept us free. So happy to be. I'm so happy to be
The wonderful Bergin O'Malley. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This
We
was
would
fun.
we would tell you to play 8 more hours because it's raining, but I guess we
It
don't
is
have to.
raining.
Lunch is over at this point. Thank you for doing this. I'm Rick Coster from the Telegraph Record Store for Live Lunch Break and theday.com. Next week, the very fine local progressive rock outfit, Matza Cigar, will join us. You guys have a great Memorial Day weekend. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.